Most traders believe the reason they are losing is because they haven't found the right strategy yet. They think one more indicator, one more system, one more secret entry will finally unlock consistency. But the market doesn't reward cleverness, it rewards alignment. And alignment doesn't begin on the chart, it begins in the mind. The truth is uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. Losing traders are not losing because the market is against them. They are losing because they are psychologically misaligned with how the market actually works. The market is neutral. It has no memory, no intention, no obligation to validate your opinion. Every price movement is simply information, yet most traders experience it as judgment, punishment, or confirmation of self-worth. The mindset shift that turns a losing trader into a consistently profitable one, and eventually into a millionaire, has nothing to do with predicting the next move. It has everything to do with releasing the need to be right. The moment a trader stops trying to control outcomes and starts focusing on executing an edge flawlessly, everything changes. Fear begins to dissolve. Hesitation loses its grip. Overtrading disappears. Why? Because the trader finally accepts uncertainty as a permanent condition, not a temporary inconvenience. Consistency is born the instant you stop demanding certainty from an uncertain environment. The market offers probabilities, not guarantees. When a trader truly internalizes this, losses stop feeling personal, wins stop creating emotional highs. Execution becomes mechanical, calm, and repeatable. Millionaire traders are not emotionally stronger than losing traders. They are mentally structured differently. They have trained themselves to think in probabilities, to define risk before entering a trade, and to accept whatever outcome occurs without emotional disruption. The shift is subtle but absolute, from how can I win this trade to how perfectly can I execute my edge. That single shift is the dividing line between frustration and freedom. Most traders enter the market believing that success comes from knowing what will happen next. They analyze charts, read news, study patterns, and build narratives, all in pursuit of certainty. They want to predict the next move because prediction feels like control, and control feels like safety. But the market does not operate in a way that rewards certainty. It operates in a way that rewards those who can function effectively in uncertainty. The moment a trader believes they must be right about the next move, they place themselves in psychological conflict with the market. The market does not care about opinions, expectations, or effort. It simply unfolds. Every price movement is a unique event, even if it looks similar to something that happened before. When traders fail to understand this, they begin to personalize outcomes. A losing trade becomes proof of failure. A winning trade becomes validation of intelligence. This emotional roller coaster is not caused by the market. It is caused by the belief that outcomes should be predictable. Thinking in probabilities requires a fundamental shift in how a trader perceives market behavior. Instead of asking, "What will the market do next?" the probabilistic trader asks, "What is the likelihood of a certain outcome over a series of trades?" This subtle change removes the emotional burden from any single trade. One trade no longer matters. It becomes just one occurrence within a larger sample size. And when a trader truly internalizes this, fear loses its grip. The market offers opportunities, not assurances. An edge does not guarantee a win. It only indicates that over time, one outcome will occur more frequently than another. Many traders intellectually understand this, but very few emotionally accept it. Emotional acceptance is the real challenge. Until a trader accepts uncertainty at a deep level, they will continue to sabotage themselves through hesitation, impulsive entries, early exits, or revenge trading. Prediction-based thinking creates attachment. When you predict, you form an expectation. When the market violates that expectation, you experience emotional pain. That pain triggers defensive behavior. You hesitate on the next signal. You move stops. You take profits too early. All of these behaviors are attempts to avoid emotional discomfort, not to improve performance. The irony is that these behaviors are precisely what destroy consistency. Probability-based thinking eliminates the need to defend yourself against the market. If you know in advance that any trade can lose, then a loss carries no emotional charge. It was already accepted as a possibility. This is not resignation or passivity, it is psychological alignment with reality. When a trader accepts risk fully, the market no longer feels threatening. One of the greatest misconceptions among losing traders is the belief that more analysis will reduce uncertainty. In reality, more analysis often increases confusion and emotional attachment. The mind begins to search for confirmation rather than clarity. It selectively focuses on information that supports the desired outcome and ignores information that contradicts it. This is not analysis, it is bias disguised as logic. Probability thinking demands neutrality. It requires the trader to see the market as a dynamic environment where anything can happen. This does not mean abandoning rules or discipline. On the contrary, it strengthens them. When you no longer need to be right, following rules becomes effortless. You are no longer trying to prove something, you are simply executing a plan. A trader who thinks in probabilities understands that consistency is not the result of avoiding losses. It is the result of managing them. Losses are a natural and unavoidable part of trading. They are not errors, they are costs of doing business. When traders stop trying to eliminate losses and start focusing on executing an edge consistently, their performance stabilizes. Fear in trading does not come from losing money. It comes from the belief that losing money means something about who you are. When identity becomes tied to outcomes, every trade carries emotional weight. Probability thinking dissolves this connection. You are no longer the outcome of your last trade. You are the executor of a process. Millionaire traders do not have superior predictive abilities. They have superior emotional discipline. They have trained themselves to remain emotionally neutral regardless of outcome. They understand that confidence does not come from winning. It comes from knowing that they can execute their edge without hesitation, regardless of what happens. This level of confidence cannot be faked. It emerges only after a trader has repeatedly experienced the truth of probability-based execution. When you take enough trades according to your rules and observe that the results align with your expectations, over time, trust begins to replace fear. But this trust is not in the market. It is in yourself. One of the most powerful effects of probability thinking is the elimination of urgency. Losing traders feel pressure to make money now. This urgency leads to overtrading and poor decisions. Probability-based traders understand that opportunities are endless. Missing one trade means nothing. The market will always offer another. This patience is not learned through willpower, it is learned through acceptance. When traders stop predicting, they stop arguing with the market. There is no need to justify a loss or explain a win. There is only execution and feedback. The market becomes a mirror, reflecting the quality of your discipline, not your intelligence. This feedback loop is essential for growth. Another critical aspect of probability thinking is ending randomness. Even a perfect setup can fail. Even a poor entry can succeed. Short-term outcomes are random. Long-term outcomes are not. Traders who fail to grasp this become emotionally reactive. Traders who accept it remain stable. Emotional stability is the foundation of consistent execution. Without it, no system can succeed. The best strategy in the world will fail in the hands of a trader who cannot accept uncertainty. Conversely, a simple edge can generate extraordinary results when executed with discipline and emotional neutrality. Thinking in probabilities also changes how traders experience winning. Wins no longer create euphoria, they are simply expected outcomes within a statistical framework. This prevents overconfidence, which is just as dangerous as fear. Emotional extremes, whether positive or negative, disrupt consistency. Probability thinking keeps the trader centered. The shift from prediction to probability is not a technique, it is an identity transformation. The trader stops seeing themselves as someone who forecasts the market and starts seeing themselves as a manager of risk and behavior. This is where professionalism begins. When this mindset is fully integrated, trading becomes calm. Decisions are clear, rules are followed without resistance. The trader no longer feels the need to interfere with trades. There is no impulse to control outcomes because outcomes are already understood as uncertain. This is the mindset that separates losing traders from millionaire traders. Not intelligence, not effort, not secret knowledge, but the willingness to accept uncertainty and operate within it without emotional disturbance. The market does not reward those who seek certainty. It rewards those who can remain disciplined in the absence of it. When you stop trying to predict and start thinking in probabilities, you align yourself with how the market actually works. And in that alignment, consistency becomes inevitable. Most traders enter a trade focused on what they can gain. Their attention is locked on profit targets, potential returns, and how much money they could make if the trade works. This reward-first mindset feels natural, even logical. After all, profit is why people trade. But this way of thinking quietly plants the seeds of fear, hesitation, and emotional instability long before the trade is even placed. The market does not punish traders for wanting rewards. It punishes them for wanting rewards without first accepting risk. The moment a trader expects profit before fully accepting the possibility of loss, they create internal conflict. Part of the mind is excited by potential gain, while another part is terrified of potential loss. This internal contradiction is the true source of emotional trading. Risk acceptance is not a technical concept. It is a psychological state. It means that before entering a trade, the trader has defined exactly how much they are willing to lose and has made peace with that outcome. Emotionally, not just logically. If that loss occurs, there is no surprise, no anger, no urge to react. It was already accepted as part of the process. Most losing traders believe they accept risk because they use stop losses. But using a stop loss does not mean risk is accepted. If it were, traders would not move stops, close trades early, or hesitate to enter after a loss. These behaviors reveal that risk was never truly accepted. It was only tolerated, and tolerance collapses under pressure. When risk is not accepted, the mind tries to avoid pain. It looks for ways to escape uncertainty. This is why traders hesitate when a valid setup appears. They see the opportunity, but the fear of loss paralyzes them. Or they enter late, hoping for more confirmation, which reduces the edge. Or they exit early, trying to protect unrealized profit. These actions are not mistakes in strategy, they are attempts to avoid emotional discomfort. Accepting risk before expecting reward removes this conflict. When the worst-case scenario is already emotionally resolved, the trade loses its power over you. You no longer need the market to behave in a certain way to feel okay. This psychological freedom is what allows disciplined execution. Professional traders understand that risk is the only thing they can control. They cannot control outcomes, market behavior, or volatility. They can only control how much they are willing to lose on any given trade. By placing risk at the center of the decision-making process, they shift from hope-based trading to rule-based execution. One of the reasons risk acceptance is so difficult is because it forces traders to confront uncertainty honestly. The human mind naturally seeks security. It wants guarantees. In trading, guarantees do not exist. Every trade carries the possibility of loss, regardless of how perfect the setup looks. Until a trader fully embraces this reality, fear will always be present. Risk acceptance also redefines the meaning of a loss. A loss is no longer evidence of failure. It is the fulfillment of a predefined possibility. When a loss occurs under these conditions, it does not damage confidence. Confidence is not built on winning. It is built on knowing that you can follow your rules without emotional disruption. Many traders try to manage emotions after entering a trade. They use affirmations, breathing techniques, or positive thinking to calm themselves while the trade is open. These methods may provide temporary relief, but they do not address the root cause. The root cause is unresolved risk. If risk were truly accepted beforehand, there would be no emotional storm to manage during the trade. Risk-first thinking also eliminates the need to interfere with trades. When traders watch every tick, they are usually trying to protect themselves from the possibility of loss. They are monitoring for danger. But if danger has already been accepted, there is no need for constant surveillance. The trader can step back and allow the edge to play out. This mindset also prevents overtrading. When risk is respected and accepted, each trade is evaluated carefully. There is no urge to force opportunities or chase the market. Trades are taken because they meet criteria, not because of emotional pressure to make money. Another powerful consequence of risk acceptance is emotional resilience. Losing streaks no longer feel catastrophic. They are understood as part of the statistical distribution of outcomes. The trader does not feel compelled to recover losses immediately. This patience protects capital and psychological stability. Expecting reward before accepting risk also distorts perception. Traders begin to see what they want to see. They interpret market information in a way that supports their desired outcome. This selective perception increases exposure to unnecessary risk. Risk acceptance, on the other hand, promotes objectivity. The trader sees the market as it is, not as they hope it will be. When traders accept risk, They stop negotiating with the market. There is no bargaining, no pleading, no emotional dialogue. The rules are set, and the outcome is allowed to unfold. This neutrality is not indifference. It is professionalism. Millionaire traders do not feel less fear because they are fearless individuals. They feel less fear because they have structured their trading in a way that fear has no fuel. Fear thrives on uncertainty and attachment. Risk acceptance removes both. This mindset also changes the relationship with money. Money stops being an emotional symbol and becomes a tool. Losses are not personal. Wins are not euphoric. The trader operates from a place of calm detachment, which is essential for long-term success. Risk acceptance before reward expectation is the foundation of consistency. Without it, even the best strategies fail. With it, even simple strategies can produce extraordinary results over time. The market does not reward hope, it rewards preparation. When a trader finally accepts that the primary goal is not to win, but to execute flawlessly within defined risk, a profound shift occurs. Trading becomes simple. Decisions become clear. Emotional reactions fade. This is the moment a trader stops being a gambler and starts being a professional, not because they have eliminated risk, but because they have embraced it. And in that embrace, they find the freedom that makes sustained profitability possible. Most traders believe the pain they feel in the market comes from losing money. In reality, the pain comes from what they believe losing means about them. A losing trade is not just a financial event, it becomes a personal judgment. It feels like proof of inadequacy, lack of intelligence, or failure. This is why trading is so emotionally exhausting for so many people. They are not just managing risk, they are defending their identity. From the moment a trader ties self-worth to trade outcomes, consistency becomes impossible. Every trade carries emotional weight. Every win creates temporary relief or inflated confidence. Every loss creates self-doubt or frustration. The trader is no longer responding to market information, they are reacting to perceived threats to their self-image. This internal pressure is what causes impulsive decisions, rule-breaking, and emotional exhaustion. Identity detachment is the ability to separate who you are from what a trade does. It is not emotional numbness or indifference, it is clarity. The trader understands that a trade result is simply feedback about an edge executed in a probabilistic environment. It is not a statement about intelligence, discipline, or potential. Until this separation occurs, the market will always feel personal. Most losing traders unconsciously seek validation from the market. They want the market to confirm that they are smart, capable, or worthy. This is a dangerous expectation because the market offers no such validation. It does not reward effort, intention, or desire. It responds only to order flow and probability. When traders look to the market for emotional affirmation, disappointment is inevitable. This attachment explains why many traders feel euphoria after wins and devastation after losses. These emotional extremes are not caused by money, they are caused by identity reinforcement or rejection. When a trader wins, the ego feels validated. When they lose, the ego feels threatened. The problem is not the emotion itself, it is the dependency. Professional traders do not eliminate emotion. They eliminate emotional dependency on outcomes. They experience wins and losses without internalizing them. This emotional neutrality allows them to remain consistent, disciplined, and objective. They are not stronger than other traders, they are simply detached from the need to be right. One of the clearest signs of identity attachment is the inability to take losses gracefully. Traders move stops, hesitate to exit, or hope the market will reverse, because accepting the loss feels like admitting failure. In reality, the failure is not taking the loss, it is refusing to accept it. When identity is on the line, logic loses its authority. Identity detachment begins with understanding the true nature of trading. Trading is not a test of intelligence. It is not a measure of self-worth. It is a probability-based activity where even perfect execution can result in losses. When traders intellectually understand this but do not emotionally accept it, conflict persists. Emotional acceptance is the turning point. Detachment does not mean a lack of care. It means caring about the right thing. Instead of caring about being right, the trader cares about following the process. Instead of caring about the outcome of a single trade, the trader cares about consistency over a series of trades. This shift redirects emotional energy away from ego and toward discipline. When identity is no longer tied to results, fear loses its power. There is no longer anything to protect. The trader is free to execute without hesitation. This freedom is what allows edges to express themselves over time. Without it, even the best strategies are sabotaged by emotional interference. Many traders believe confidence comes from winning. In reality, confidence comes from self-trust. Self-trust is built by repeatedly following rules regardless of outcome. When a trader sees themselves act consistently, confidence grows naturally. This confidence is stable because it is not dependent on market behavior. Detaching identity also prevents overconfidence. When traders associate wins with personal superiority, they become careless. They increase risk, abandon rules, or assume the market will continue to reward them. Identity detachment keeps the ego in check. Wins are appreciated, but they are not inflated into self-importance. This mindset also changes how traders experience losing streaks. Instead of questioning their worth or abilities, they evaluate execution. They ask whether they followed their rules. If they did, the losses are accepted as part of the statistical process. If they did not, the focus shifts to correcting behavior, not self-judgment. The market becomes a teacher rather than a judge. Every trade provides information. Wins and losses are both valuable because they reveal whether the trader is aligned with their process. This perspective transforms trading from an emotional battle into a learning environment. Identity detachment also improves patience. When traders no longer need constant validation, they are willing to wait for high-quality setups. They are not pressured to trade just to feel productive or competent. This selectivity improves performance and reduces emotional fatigue. Another powerful effect of detachment is emotional recovery. Losses do not linger. Wins do not intoxicate. The trader returns to a neutral state quickly. This emotional equilibrium is essential for long-term survival in the market. Without it, burnout is inevitable. Millionaire traders are not immune to losses. They simply refuse to let losses define them. Their sense of identity is rooted in discipline, preparation, and execution, not in short-term outcomes. This internal stability allows them to compound capital over time without psychological breakdown. Detaching identity from results does not happen overnight. It is developed through awareness and deliberate practice. Traders must observe their emotional reactions and question the beliefs behind them. Why does this loss feel personal? What am I trying to prove? These questions expose the hidden attachments that sabotage consistency. As this awareness grows, emotional reactions soften. The trader stops fighting the market and starts cooperating with it. There is no need to impress, prove, or defend. There is only execution. This is the final mindset shift that separates losing traders from consistently profitable ones. When the ego steps aside, clarity emerges. When identity is no longer at risk, discipline becomes natural. And when discipline becomes natural, the market finally stops feeling like an enemy. At that point, trading is no longer an emotional struggle. It becomes a professional practice. And in that space, long-term success is no longer an exception. It becomes the inevitable result of aligned thinking. The shift that transforms losing traders into consistently profitable ones is not found in charts, indicators, or predictions. It begins internally with the acceptance of uncertainty, the embrace of risk before reward, and the detachment of identity from outcomes. When a trader stops seeking validation from the market and starts committing to flawless execution, emotional noise fades and clarity emerges. The market has always offered opportunity, but only to those mentally prepared to operate within probability. Mastery is not about being right. It is about being disciplined, neutral, and consistent. When the mindset aligns, results follow naturally.